Christianity is a religion of love. What does that mean? Today we're going to be looking at that, discussing the concept of love in Christianity. So, first of all, we have to understand what love is. Nowadays, everybody talks about love in a very loose way. You know, I love you, you love me, oh, I love God, oh, I love I love everybody. You know, the universe is love. Love is, high frequency, all this kind of talk, about love. And yet, a lot of the time, maybe even most of the time, at least in the Western world, we don't really see love being there. And then we kind of get lost in the middle of this whole talk about love, reducing that phenomenon to just that word, love, those 4 letters. And then it just becomes mundane and becomes uninteresting, even repulsing, actually, to the point that where it becomes repulsing when someone says, oh, I love you. You're like, hey man, get away from me, Jesus loves you. Yeah, get away from me, bro. I'm gonna call the cops, That's the point we got to because of basically Satan. And if you guys are not really comfortable with biblical terms, we could also use because of negative forces that are working in our world. And so these negative forces, what they tend to do is take something which is good and turn it upside the head and make it like something that is just something that pushes people away. Like love, like God, We all grew up, a whole lot of us, myself included, grew up turned off by the concept of God. I didn't want to have anything to do with God anymore. I didn't want to even hear the word God. Like if anyone tells me, hey, God bless you, like, hey man, don't talk to me about God, bro. Get out of here with that nonsense. That's who I was for a very long time. Because this word God, I knew that that word represented something high, something good. But I was turned off by the word God. And I know a lot of people, a lot of people still are turned off by the word God, especially in liberal circles. Now we have woke circles, all these things, and I understand. Well, they're wrong. Definitely they're wrong, but I understand. Just because your position is understood doesn't mean that you are correct in your position. So just like the word God has been corrupted, misused, sullied, polluted, the word love has gone through the same fate. And it's interesting because God and love, at least for Christians, is the same. God is love for us. In the Bible, we read that God is love, and we know because we feel it, because we see it, because nowhere can you have God be separate from love. anything that God does or manifests is out of love. And that's something that's really powerful in the Christian view of the world, in the Christian doctrine or the Christian theology. It's all about love at the end. So what is this thing we call love? Now again, even the LGBT community and all these new age communities, or even say, oh, love is love. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if it's a man with a man or a woman with a woman or one person with many people or sexually. And that's a huge problem, because that's a really huge problem. When you mix love with sex, when you reduce love to sex, you've destroyed love already. Really. Now hear me out. I'm not saying sex is bad. I'm not saying sex is not good or something that you have to be, ashamed of or feel guilty about. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what anybody is saying. We're just making the clear distinction between what love is and what sex is. Of course you can have loving sex. Of course you can. They're not contradictory. But just because they're not contradictory doesn't mean that you can now reduce love to sex. Love is far more than sex, okay? Love can be in sex. Love can be manifested through sex, of course. When you love your partner, of course you want to have sex with your partner, in a loving way, in a deep bonding kind of way. Of course, sex can be that too, and it's great when it's like that, and it should be like that. Of course, without a doubt. But now you got people who are sexually perverted. They like the instant gratification of sex. They like short-term fun. They like casual relationships. And while doing all this, while in the middle of all this, they express it as, oh, love, I'm just such a loving person, No, you're just a pervert. Just be honest. It's fine. You can be a pervert. Just own up to it. Say you're a pervert. You love sex so much. You're a sex addict. That's fine. But when you try to sugarcoat your symptoms, then you're in a whole lot of trouble, more than what you were before. So love has been reduced to sexual perversion, and that's very dangerous for another reason, because now sexual perversion doesn't exist. It's all love, whatever. Oh, there's just different people. Some love to do it with a man, some love to do it with the same man with a man, or man with an animal, and now we're even talking about men with children, or adults with children. And by children I mean prepubescent children. They were trying to normalize that for some time. Now today a lot of people are not really talking about it, but about 10 years ago or something, it was a discussion. They were saying, oh yeah, there's a new term coming out for people who love kids. The word pedophilia is gonna be normalized or changed, because pedophilia has so much negative connotation connected to it. So now it's gonna be, they said some stupid stuff, man. Now it's gonna be a adult who loves children, or some nonsense like that. And it's very dangerous when you blur the line between sexual, anything sexual, especially when it's perversion, with actual love. This is a war against love by the devil, by Satan, by the dark forces, the negative energies that are running amok in our world. This is no coincidence. This doesn't even matter whether you're Christian or Muslim or atheist or theist or Buddhist or Hindu or whatever the hell you are. It doesn't matter. As long as you can understand these words, as long as you're a human being, aware, watching this, listening to this now, this concerns you. Whoever you are, man, woman, child, anyone. There is a war against love. There has been a war against love, and you can see this very easily, even in Hollywood, even in the music that we hear these days. There's so much war against love. You can see it. Just compare movies from the 90s and before to movies from the early 2000s onward till this day. Now we're in 2025. I don't know what year you're watching this video, but it seems like it's just getting worse and worse. And unless we do something about it, unless we consciously bring this to the forefront of conversation, nothing is going to change. It's just going to keep getting worse. And I got a whole lot of things to talk about when it comes to cinema, theater, movies. But now we're just going to stick to this love concept. Everything is being sexualized, you know what I mean? So it's just, we can easily see them blurring the lines between sex and love. So now you don't even know, now love is sex and sex is love. You know what I mean? You don't know the difference when there is actually a clear difference. Especially when it comes to sexual perversion. Sexual perversion has nothing to do with love. It's just raw animal. Even animal instincts are not as perverted as how a human being can become perverted. A perversion is a distortion of something. It's like someone having craving food so much they just can't keep their hands off food. That's a kind of perversion. Even animals don't have that. Even animals have enough sense to distinguish between, okay, this food is good for me, I shouldn't touch this food. And once I eat and I'm full, that's it, I stop. But when you feed people certain chemicals, certain substances which are not natural, which are meant to spike up your appetite and spike up your taste buds, it becomes a drug. It's a drug. That's what a drug is. A drug is really to make you crave something more than you should. So we all need food, right? We all need food. We all need to eat. But once you start engineering food to the point where it becomes irresistible and you just have to have it all the time, now it's become a drug. Now it's no longer just food. It's no longer just nourishment. And that's a whole other thing. It can be, because real food is nourishing. But what we have today, a whole lot of it is not even nourishing. It's just making you crave it so that you can take more of it, buy more of it, spend more money, and get more unhealthy from eating it. And you don't know how to stop. And you don't know where to stop, and you just keep going and going and going. So all of these things can be reflected not only with food, but with everything. Okay? Like I said, food has become a perversion, an addiction. They took sex, which has its own function and of course its own pleasure and everything. Sure, of course, it's beautiful, but they made it into a perverted thing. They made it into a drug where everything is sexualized all of a sudden, So again, I'm not trying to say sex is bad, just like I'm not trying to say food is bad. But you see what they're doing, like they're taking like basic needs, basic biological needs, whether it's food, sex, anything, and turning it upside the head, upside down, making it something that you have to crave more than you should naturally. And now you're just hooked, and now you don't know how to stop, and now it's just consume. You're not the one consuming it now, it's consuming you. You see where the problem is, and that's what Satan does. I don't care if you believe in the devil or don't believe in the devil. You can call this negative energy, whatever you want to call it, man. It's all the same. But that's what it is. It's negative forces governing our world, governing our lives. So when we allow this to happen, this is where we end up, and we become destroyed, depressed, confused, weak, I mean, miserable. And don't be fooled. Just because you see people laughing and giggling all the time doesn't mean they're happy. I can laugh and giggle every time I get on TikTok or Instagram and I start watching these videos with, like, you know, like instant gratification stuff. Instant gratification, just like drugs, man. You know, coming back to drugs again. Drugs can make you feel ecstatic. And there's a drug with that same name too, right? That's why they call it ecstasy. Just because you're ecstatic doesn't mean you're happy. Just because you're ecstatic doesn't mean you're well. Doesn't mean you're at peace. Doesn't mean you're fulfilled. Actually, you're far from being fulfilled. Because now, even the lines between between happiness and pleasure, or fulfillment and pleasure, are blurred, and you don't know the difference anymore. That again is the devil. I'm just gonna call it the devil, bro. That again is Satan. That again is the dark forces. It's not good. A human being was not born into this world so that he adheres to dark forces or to Satan. We are not meant to be satanic people. We are meant to be godly people, light beings, you know? And we can see this all around us in nature. That's another thing. Why do they want to cut us out from nature? Because nature is the most powerful reminder to a human being about how we should be living. Nature teaches us that we should share. Nature teaches us that we should love each other. Nature teaches us that we should be humble. Nature teaches us that we should be forgiving, that we should, that we should be caring for one another. Nature teaches us healing, because nature is healing. And there are some things that even the elites cannot take away, cannot take out from nature and destroy, because if they do that, they destroy their own selves. So nature is that phenomenon which the creator of life has instilled within our world. It is our world, actually. That without it, life does not happen. So now these devils, these fools, these cowards, these idiots, they wanna they think they wanna like control everything through the chemicals they feed us, through the nonsense they feed us, through the social media and everything, the pornography, the everything, all the perversions and everything, food, misinformation, all these things, propaganda. But they need us to be alive. That's the paradox. They need us to be alive, and for us to be alive, we need a certain amount of life force, right? So life comes from nature. Life comes from the world that God created, which is nature. Actually, nature is the real world. It's not some place that you go to every now and then just to get out of the daily stress and routine. Nature is actually the world, and you are living in an artificial world which now people are, in the new age we call it the matrix or whatever. But you know what I mean, I don't want to confuse you too much with all these terms. But it's the fake world. We're living in a fake world. We're living in a fake world. Okay? And we think that that's the real world. Because why? Because all of a sudden, we're making our, we're making a living from that fake world, with fake, fake money, which money, is actually fake. But of course we need it, because we live in that world. We eat fake food. We have fake relationships with people. Everything is based on fakeness. So when we meet someone who's real, we immediately want to get out, get away from that person, because we're like, this, I'm not used to anything real. And the thing is, you don't even know that you're running away from something because it's real. You've just set yourself up for failure from the very beginning, because now you've allowed yourself to be conditioned in such a way that anything which is real, anything that is full of life, that is actually not fake, your very conditioning will repulse you from that. But that doesn't mean that you're right. That doesn't mean that you have to get away from it. Quite the contrary. You have to run as fast as you can towards it, towards that real thing, or that real person, or that real situation, because nothing is going to save you except the real, except the true. And we see this in the Bible, so we come back to the Bible again. The truth shall set you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. That's one of the things that Jesus said. That's one of the things that he taught. And we know these things instinctively. Like, we don't even need to be a Christian. We don't even need to read the Bible. But it's good to have the reminder of that in book form. You know what I mean? In a community known as the Christian community, for example. So it's very important. This is why religion, or at least this one, Christianity, Christ, the way of Christ, is absolutely necessary for all times, but especially now, in these days, in these times, where everything is being flipped upside down, perverted, making everyone weak, making men weak, because men are the ones who are supposed to be actually guarding and protecting the weaker people, like men, like women and children. And of course women have their own strength. It's not like women are just like useless or anything, of course, because I know that a lot of, if a feminist is, is listening to this, she's going to be like, oh, what do you mean that, men are strong? You mean women are not strong? No, everyone has their own strength, okay? Just relax, Bertha. Everyone has their own strength. And we need each other. We need each other. Just like a man needs a woman in his life to strengthen him emotionally, a woman needs a man in her life to give her that sense of security, where now she is allowed to be that feminine being that she should be, that she was created to be, which is the most beautiful thing in the world. Beauty is feminine, and unless the feminine is allowed to thrive and to blossom, she needs that security from man. She needs to be free from harm. She needs to be protected. She needs to know that no one is going to come and abuse her, because once she's left all alone out in the cold, where the wolves are, where all those devils are, everyone is trying to exploit her. Now what happens? She becomes a feminist, because now she thinks she has to act like a man in order to just survive. Now she's not even thinking of blossoming into the feminine that she was meant to be. Now she just has to survive, and to survive she has to be tough, she has to become mean, cold, and that's no way for a woman to exist. That's extremely sad to see that a woman has to reduce herself to that level in order to just be, just live. And then of course a whole lifestyle is created around that, right? Now it's like a thing, right? You know what I mean? Because everything becomes a thing after a certain time. Now it's like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm a boss bitch or whatever. I mean, I'm this, I'm that. Oh, I make my own money. I don't need a man. No, you always needed a man, but because you were put in a position where you had to do what you're doing now in order to survive and find some dignity in your life, now you think this is the way that all women have to live? No, I'm sorry, that's not the case. That's not the case. If you had a strong man in your life, you wouldn't have to go through all this hell just to get where you are and just to be. Every woman is way happier. And this is, by the way, women say this. I'm not the one saying this for them. They say this for themselves. I'm just repeating what they say. No woman is happier than when a woman has her own family, has her own children, especially when she has children, and a loving husband, and she's safe and secure to be a woman. Just be a woman, a feminine creature, a woman. You know? A feminine being. That's what really fulfills every girl, every woman, to just be allowed to be that soft being, because that's where the aesthetics of life comes from. If you're a woman and you're safe and you're in a safe space and you're in a loving space, now you can give so much beauty. Now you can give so much love, so much nurturing. Now you're able to bring forth the next generations of strong, powerful people. Because every child who is born into this world needs that motherly love, needs that strength from his mother, her mother. We all need our mother when we are weakest. That's what gives us that sense of security that we need naturally. That's what God has, that's how God's creation is. But when we don't have that, we are traumatized when we don't have that. We grow up with so much trauma, and we think that what is going to secure me is if I act tough, if I'm angry. Yeah, that can give you a sense of security, sure. I was there. I remember I was there because I didn't grow up with my mom. I know I was a very angry kid, but then later I healed myself because I understood where that was coming from. And so, but that's not really what fulfills you, because although I found security in being tough and being strong, like physically, and I was always ready to fight or beat someone up, and I was incredibly angry, so easily angry, easily angered. But I was sad, man. I was inside, I was not happy. I was not fulfilled. I used to dream of that tenderness that I can get from a female, from a motherly figure, or from a lover, from a girlfriend, and people like me would fall in love so easily because we lacked that sense of love that we needed from our mother. And I used to fall in love all the time when I was a kid, man. All the time. I just look at a girl, I just fall in love. I just start dreaming about her at night, and holding my pillow and be like, oh my God, I wish she was here. Oh, I just want to kiss her and love her. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, that's where these things mainly come from. I'm not saying the necessity to love someone comes from your lack of motherly love. I'm not saying that, but when you lack that, now you need it even more to kind of like substitute that lack. So, yeah. So, you see, love, and this is something that Bishop Marmari said, love is the weakest thing, the most vulnerable thing, and it's also the most powerful thing at the same time. The weakest thing and the most powerful thing at the same time. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. It seems like the weakest thing, like something that anyone can just blow it and it just falls apart. But without it, no fulfillment comes, no power comes, no powerful individuals come, no confidence comes. That's why we say, or the Bible says, love is God. Because love is that thing that creates harmony. Without love, no harmony comes. Harmony always comes forth from love. And harmony is what makes everything happen the way it should. The way it should. When you take sound and you put harmony into sound, now it becomes music. Take harmony away from sound, now it becomes noise. When you put harmony in something, in some kind of structure, now you have art. Now you have food, like recipes, dishes, all these, delicious meals. Now you have paintings. Now you have poetry. Now you have something that makes sense, something that draws you in, something that nourishes you, something that fulfills you. But take away harmony, now you have chaos. Now you have, something that's going to harm you, something that's not good for you, something that's just it's confusing, something that's senseless. And the devil loves disharmony. Anywhere you find disharmony, know that the devil is reigning over that. Anytime you come and you put harmony into something, know that God is in control. Because when you come with a loving heart, that's why when someone who is filled with love in his heart, has filled his heart with love, now he walks through the chaos. Anywhere he walks, he will try to create as much harmony as he can, just by his own nature. He doesn't have to go and talk, and he can do that too, of course, but even if he doesn't do that, just his vibration is felt by plants, by animals, and by children, and even by those sensitive adults who are still, who still exist. But this cabal of devil worshippers who are hiding in the shadows of our world, they want to reduce sensitive people as much as possible. They want to kill our instinct of our human instinct, basically, instincts of love, instincts of encouraging harmony, our instincts of giving more life. Just life. It's all about life energy. Love is life. Love is what gives life, right? Because harmony gives life to things. It's all about life at the end. Love and life are the same. You can't have life without love. You can't have love without life. It's the life force. But even now, like, again, they take this word life and they make it, this is life. This is, just living like this and going to work every day and paying your bills, and yeah, that's not life itself. That's just how people live today, because you've set them up in a system that requires these things, that obliges them to live this way. But that's not life. Life is what you find in the real world. Now we come back to nature, the real world. Now look at all these life forms, the trees, the birds, the animals, the insects, and the people. So, that's life. That's where God is found. That's where God is felt the most. That's where life energy is. That's where love is abundant. That's where love can thrive and live. That's why people who live in the countryside they have this very, very different vibe to them. for those of you who who go to the countryside, or who've been to the countryside recently, or some time in your life, you know what I'm talking about. Just the look in their eyes. People from the countryside are just, you can feel the love. Not because you're this beautiful person, or because you're this great individual, or because you did something great, said something great. They just love you because that's life. That's what they know. Because they're in tune with the Creator. Because love is the Creator. And by love He creates everything. By love He creates harmony. And these people are living this harmony physically. They're touching the earth, the soil, the rain, the trees, the animals. They work the earth. They plant seeds, and then they see them growing. And you know, just living through that process will inevitably put you in tune with God, with the Creator, because now you can see the harmonious workings of the Creator, of love. And by doing all that, now everyone is fed. Now everyone can enjoy food, and it can enjoy togetherness, and can enjoy sharing stories and being there for one another. Like, what is life meant for if it's not these things? Life is not meant for just going to work every day, getting your paycheck, paying your bills, doing the same thing all over again every day, every week, every month. And then when you're too old to work, now you're just sick and unhealthy. You got all this money, but you don't know what to do with it because you don't have your health anymore. And without even realizing it, you've trained the next generation to do the same, and you're just too ashamed to say I was stupid, like there was certainly a better way to live. But now let me just shut up and just die peacefully and just let them deal with whatever nonsense they put themselves in, even though I'm also partly to blame. Like, all these things, man. It's really sad. And I mean, that's why we need God. That's why we need to come back to God, the concept of God. I mean, I know a lot of people have been turned off by the word God, by religion, by Christianity. I know people are not perfect. People are not perfect, and they will never be perfect. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to get closer to perfection. By what? By being humble, by being loving to one another, by just admitting our mistakes, man. Like, we all make mistakes. But if we make mistakes and we own up to it, at least I own up to it. That makes you more perfect, or at least imperfectly perfect. It's not about being perfect at the end of the day. It's just about finding more harmony, being part of that harmony. Just giving out that harmony. Being one of the reasons for harmony to grow and to do its work. Being one of the reasons for God's work to be done on earth. Just being love. That's all that it means, just being love. It doesn't mean going around and lecturing people about how bad they were. I know that a lot of people who are turned off by religion have gone through this kind of stuff. Like I was as well. But I was not part of Christianity, I was part of Islam. That's a whole other story. But it's about love, and this is why this religion is such a beautiful religion, because it's a religion of love. Christianity is love. It's a religion about love. Christ is love. Christ was loving, is loving, has came and shown His love through His sacrifice, through His teachings, through His words, through His actions, and has reminded us how much the Father loves us, and gave us the last commandment that they left people: just love one another as I have loved you. I leave you this commandment. Like, it's all about love at the end. And I know I read this a lot, but I just love it and I can't stop reading it. 1 Corinthians 13. And this resonates, man, across ages. Like, it's incredible. Everyone has to hear this at least once in their lives, but every time, but like you got to repeat this like every now and then in your life, preferably every day. Just keep it in your mind, man. 1 Corinthians 13 goes, I may be able to speak the languages of men and even of angels, but if I have no love, my speech is no more than a noisy gong or a clanging bell. I may have the gift of inspired preaching. I may have all knowledge and understand all secrets. I may have all faith needed to move mountains. But if I have no love, I am nothing. See, so even today you have a lot of these Christians, like all these New Age Christians, think, oh, you're just saved by faith alone. You see, this passage says, even if you have all the faith in the world as to move mountains, but you have no love, you're nothing. You're nothing. You're nothing. So it's not even about, like, I know that a lot of people hear these wrong things about the Bible, about Christianity, and a lot of these people may even be pastors. But it's about love at the end. If what you're doing is not out of love, it's not loving, and people cannot feel your love, cannot be touched by your love, you're doing something wrong. You're really doing something wrong. You're not working in the service of God. You're working in the service of the devil. It's all about love, man. It's all about love at the end. And that's what love is. Love is that love is just God, man. Love is the source of creation. Love is that spark that makes everything happen the way it really should happen. Love is that spark that makes things happen the way they should, in the best way that they can. That's what love is. Love is that spark that gives forth harmony, and harmony brings forth joy. Joy is the greatest treasure. This is something that the founder of Aikido, Sensei Morihei Ueshiba, spoke about. So as a martial artist, I was really into reading the teachings and the biography of Sensei, the founder of Aikido. And from his experience, he started talking about love. He started to say some things that seem really crazy in today's world. He started saying things like, the true purpose of martial arts is not war, but is love. How crazy does that sound? Try to go tell that to someone who practices MMA, who beats people up every day, trains to beat people up to a pulp. Try to go tell him or her that the true purpose of martial arts is love. They cannot understand that. They cannot understand that because, again, martial arts is one of those things that is very godly, has a huge potential to bring you to God and to truth and to harmony and to create harmony in the world. But now look what it's been reduced to: MMA. Just beat. What is this? Is this martial arts really? No, it's a sorry excuse for martial arts. Martial arts is not just about being able to beat someone up. Martial arts is far more about how to live, how you lead your life, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, how to know how to be gentle. And you can tell me, like, what are you talking about? You learn all this by punching and kicking? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Believe it or not, you do. Because when you're punching and kicking, yes, you can just be focusing on I'm training to beat someone up. But you can also be focusing on, I'm learning through these movements and through these efforts and through these power bursts what my potential is as a human being. Not just to beat my opponent, but how to go beyond my fears, how to go beyond my obstacles of life, my problems, my psychological barriers, to understand my emotions. You see, when you're practicing as a martial artist, if you practice in a certain way, not just focusing on, this is how I'm gonna make his nose bleed, but actually understanding every movement, every posture that you're doing, and breathing, and making it into a meditative process. Now martial arts teaches you far more things about yourself than you've ever imagined. Now martial arts is teaching you even about your emotions, even about those emotions that you've suppressed throughout your life since you were a little child. All those traumas that happened to you when you were a kid. Now the proper training of martial arts reveals or helps reveal those things. It's not just about beating someone up, man. And grand masters like O-sensei Morihei Ueshiba have understood this. And so he had his profound, incredible spiritual experience where he saw God, and he said that God was love. And he told his people, no more competition, no more killing, no more breaking of bones. That's not what martial arts is. From now on, martial arts is aimed to create world peace, is aimed to create love in the world and happiness. And it should not be a tool to create more enemies, but to create more friends. True martial arts is about love. And he got that from his experience, man. You know, these powerful experiences, man, there's such a blessing. There's such a blessing to anyone who's had them. And I know because I've had them. It's all about love, man. It's all about love. Even if you think about it logically, like seriously, why would you train so hard to be able to beat people up? You know what I mean? Like even those people who love to see people in pain, like why would you do that? Why would you do that? I'll tell you why. You're not really thinking about it. Like you may be too caught up with I just wanna show how strong I am and be praised for it, and and get all these women and whatever. I don't know. Be famous and be feared and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? As if that's gonna make you happy, fulfilled. My poor child. If you only knew. If you only knew. If you're happy that you're making people fear you, my friend, you are extremely sad within. Because no one who understands life would ever want to be feared by anybody. Those who are feared by everybody are lonely. Nobody No one, no one approaches them honestly. No one is willing to open up to them because they fear them so much. So even those who train and spend all this time, they're just like, why are you wasting so much of your time and energy? All of this, are you sure that you're doing all of this just to be praised? Like, there's so many ways to be praised, man. What are you doing this for? So that you can love yourself, that, yeah, I'm strong and I did this, and what are you trying to prove? That, yeah, I can beat everyone up? Okay, good, bravo. Okay, then what? Go ask Mike Tyson what he thinks about that. Go ask Mike Tyson what he thinks about being the most feared man in the world. He doesn't like it. Go ask him, and he's gonna start crying if you talk to him long enough. He's gonna be like, man, I'm not happy. I'm not happy, man. Like, I just want all this to be done with, like, when I die. Like, he really doesn't care about any of that. Really. Why do people train to be able to fight and beat people up? Let me tell you why. The true reason why most people are not even thinking about this, is so that you can live. You see, there was a time when people were living, eating and having fun and whatever, and then all of a sudden, attacks from outside, invasions, thieves, thugs, start to come and steal their crops, steal their food, steal their children, women, whatever. Now they had to find a way to stop that. That's where martial arts came in. That's where being strong, being fearsome, aggression became important, became a virtue, a kind of virtue. But that's all. People have forgotten that all this effort to be able to fight and beat people up and kill or whatever is just for self-protection, man. Once you're able to protect yourself, and you know that you're protected, and you know that now you're actually living, now you actually can live and enjoy life, all of that doesn't mean anything anymore. So the goal of life is not to beat people up. The goal of life is to come back to that position where I can just relax now and just enjoy my life again. That's why all of these fighting arts were created. Now, of course, they have their, I mean, it's not just about that, of course, it's also about knowing yourself and all those things we said before, and keeping yourself healthy as an exercise and everything. Sure. But I'm talking about fighting in itself, like fighting as a fighting thing, as fighting as a thing. Fighting and being aggressive and, you know what I mean, like being confrontational and being all of that. The main purpose for all of that was self-defense, was so that I can overcome the danger, so that I can overcome invasions, thuggery, someone, coming in and taking what is mine, someone coming in and harming me or my loved ones. That's all, man. Once that threat is eliminated, don't forget. Don't get too caught up in all that and all that aggression and make it into a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. It's really gonna make you sad at the end. It's gonna prevent you from living. It's gonna prevent you from fulfilling your life. It's gonna prevent you from coming back to love. It's gonna make you forget what love actually is. It's gonna make you forget the purpose of love. It's gonna make you forget God. It's gonna make you forget harmony. Don't ever forget that. That's the aim. That's the goal of life. It's just to be able to live in love and to create harmony, to be part of that harmony. That's the only thing that fulfills a human being. Not the capacity to kill and destroy and all these things. Those things came as a necessity because because of a certain disadvantage, or not disadvantage, but like inconvenience. But don't get too caught up and make a lifestyle out of it, man. See, that's why martial arts would have never survived as a way of life if they were not something that's aiming beyond fighting. If martial arts was only about fighting, believe me, it would have been extinct a long time ago. Because during the time of peace, no one was gonna keep practicing it, because it's just gonna take too much out of you, too much aggression, too much violence, too much, when everybody's happy and peaceful. You know what I mean? Why would you do that? But people kept practicing it because it brought them so much benefit, so much spirituality, so much mental and emotional stability, so much health, so much wisdom, so much self-knowledge. You know? That's why martial arts are so precious today, even today. And so we should never forget that that's what they're for. So even in martial arts, even in fighting and all these things, it's all about love at the end. That's why I gave the example with the founder of Aikido, because he brought forth this martial art, which is based in love. That's a martial art of love. And I'm pretty sure that if he lived long enough, he would have accepted Christ in his life. But he died a few years after he got his revelation and brought Aikido to the world. And it's such a beautiful martial art. I urge any one of you guys to just go and look into it. But don't look into like how people are teaching Aikido today. You might find good teachers, but I urge you to go and read the teachings of O-sensei, Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. Read his interviews, his translated interviews if you don't speak Japanese, and just read his teachings, read his poems. He's written so many poems that have the juice, the treasure of Aikido in them, and they're so profound, man. Like they easily make me cry when I read them, man. Read them with an open heart. It's incredible. And he was not this weakling, whatever, because he talks about love and because he doesn't want any competition anymore. Man, he was incredibly, like, no one was able to touch him. Let me just tell you that. Like big buffed white men, you know, way bigger than him, and he was like, just a small Asian man, old man, and they would just come crumbling down. And I mean, he would like overpower all of them with a smile on his face, and he was not even like getting tense or anything. He said there's a whole energy, there's a whole other energy that you receive from God when you open your heart to love. And that energy is far greater than any muscle. And he would overpower them just with one little finger. There are videos you can find. There are 6 documentaries which have him in them, like, which were made in Japan and then translated, I think, or like a long time ago. Like, they're in black and white. And they're so beautiful. You're gonna learn a lot about life and about, like, it's so beautiful. Just check it out. Anyways, guys, I've been talking here for an hour now. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. Give this video a like and subscribe, please. It helps us out a lot. And check out my other videos, guys. And God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much. I love you all. And please just love one another and create more love and harmony in your lives, guys. I love you. Peace.